let's give Weinstein's victims the spotlight on Oscar night. Oy vey, it's awards season again. Could there be a worse time for Hollywood to celebrate itself? It was around this time last year, that is, a more innocent time, that the fair people of Tinseltown began using acceptance speeches to shake their manicured fists at Donald J. Trump. There was Meryl Streep at the Golden Globes, tearing into Trumpian cruelty, and, amid furor over the Muslim travel ban, David Harbour of Stranger Things vowing at the Screen Actors Guild Awards to repel bullies and hunt monsters. Sitting in the cheering audiences on both occasions was Harvey Weinstein, months away from being accused of being a rapacious predator. As Hollywood has bitterly learned, it is a whole lot easier to preach when the monster is not one of your own. Even if more players from the entertainment world hadn't been accused of sexual misconduct or harassment, the gravity of the accusations leveled at Mr. Weinstein, who has denied allegations of non-consensual sex, would still have injected a stink into the awards season this year. Mr. Weinstein may have been expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, but he has left lasting marks on the Oscars race. He elevated and made a blood sport out of campaigning. Guild and ancillary awards matter more now in part because of him. He fought bare-knuckled for every prize. Though his power had sharply waned from his heyday, which lasted from the 90s through the aughts, Mr. Weinstein's outsized presence and shameless politicking were awards season staples. His reputation for being a bully endured, but he was also beheld as a grandstanding lion in winter, one who prompted eye rolls and the perennial question, what will Harvey pull this year? Despite being financially weakened, Mr. Weinstein delivered, audaciously. He arranged for Philomena Lee, who was forced by Irish nuns to give up her son for adoption, to meet the Pope in the final weeks of the awards campaign for the 2013 film about her. In ads for The Imitation Game, his 2014 film about the persecuted gay mathematician, Alan Turing, Mr. Weinstein called for the pardoning of 49,000 people convicted for their sexuality. Honor this movie, honor this man, the ads read. The day before Oscar voting closed, news went out that the Turing family would deliver a petition with hundreds of thousands of signatures to 10 Downing Street. Even an actor's visa denial became a media opportunity attached to a cause. After the cherubic Indian child star of Lion was initially denied entry to the United States to attend the movie's November 2016 premiere, the Weinstein Company fired off a news release blaming immigration paranoia. Now that Mr. Weinstein faces a mountain of damning corroborated evidence, his tactics seem tinged with malevolence, fronts for a man who abused women and used the promise of Oscar gold as bait. He might be gone, but his protégés remain. Former Weinstein Company employees have gone on to jobs at Netflix, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, Focus Features, Sony Pictures Entertainment and A&E Networks. The most prominent awards strategists, Tony Angelotti, Cynthia Swartz, Lisa Tabak, all came from his shop. Several former employees said they did not know the terrible extent of Mr. Weinstein's behavior, though some were on the receiving end of his infamous wrath, which now seems like another front of sorts, too. Still, questions about who else knew what, when, hang heavy. And crassly or not, insiders began speculating about how the sexual harassment revelations would affect this year's Oscars race as soon as the Weinstein news broke. That's a shame, because this year's race boasts a bumper crop of movies that aren't exclusively about or made by straight white men. Early favorites and award winners include Call Me By Your Name, a gay coming-of-age story from a gay Italian filmmaker, Luca Guadagnino, Get Out, the racially charged horror movie by a biracial writer-director, Jordan Peele, and Lady Bird, written and directed by Greta Gerwig. Mudbound, a World War II-era tale about black and white farming families in rural Mississippi, has generated attention for its performances and director, Dee Reese, who could become the first black woman to land an Oscar nomination for directing. Wonder Woman, the female superhero movie directed by Patty Jenkins that shifted the cultural terrain, is also in the mix. So is The Florida Project, from Sean Baker, About a mother and daughter living a precarious existence in an Orlando area motel, and I, Tanya, starring Margot Robbie as the skater Tonya Harding. Nor is this a season dominated by ingenues. The average age of the 7 women leading the Best Supporting Actress list at the prediction site Gold Derby is 55 and the youngest is 46. Frances McDormand, who turned 60 this summer, is the strong favorite,